They're never going to ask this question on the exam because you don't have a graphing calculator or Desmos. On an AP exam, though, you might get something like this, and if you had a calculator or Desmos, you would type one equation into y1, the other equation into y2, and just see where do your graphs intersect, and you could solve that way. But now we're going to review a little bit from grade 10 and 11, because we can solve this one without a calculator. And we're going to go and do that right now. We won't be able to get our answer to the nearest tenth, but we can get an answer for this one. So, if you're solving an equation with a square root, it's not very nice. So it's nice to get rid of a square root. How do you get rid of a square root? Squaring. So a little reminder from grade 11 and grade 10 is if you were solving a question with a square root, you would want to get that square root all by itself. And right now, what I mean by all by itself is on one side of an equal sign, you have just the square root. I like x minus 6 instead of negative 6 plus x. Now, when you do isolate it and get it all by itself, now if you square this side, you have to square this side. Because that gets rid of the square root. Well, nice thing is they're inverses of each other. This will just become 3x plus 2. And this side, you'd actually have to FOIL this out. You have to be careful. Right, to multiply it out correctly, not just write x squared plus 36. You actually multiply it all out, you'll get x squared minus 12x plus 36. So then you get to this part of the equation. And you're like, have you ever solved x squared equations before? Yes. That's quadratic. What do we have to do to solve quadratic equations? We need to make one side equal to 0. I always like to keep my x squared positive. So I'm going to keep that there. I'm going to move the 3x over. I'm going to move the 2 over. And then I'd like to have a happy ending to the story where I say, hey, look, it factors nicely. But I can already tell you this is not a happy ending story. It says to the nearest tenth. That classifies this math problem as a tragedy. It's going to be not factorable. You have to use, if you can't factor, quadratic formula. So we would have negative b, which would be 15, plus or minus b squared. Negative 15 squared is 225 minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 34, over 2 times a, which is 2 times 1. And this is our final answer. 225 minus 136. Not happy numbers either. 136 plus, what would that be? 89? No, 79? No, 89? I don't know. Maybe 9? Divided by 2. Yeah, I'm happy with 89 right now. And that's what you would have to do if you had no calculator. And then if it said to the nearest tenth, then you would need a calculator. On your exam, you'd have to do one answer where you do 15 plus the square root of 89 divided by 2, and the other one 15 minus the square root of 89 divided by 2. All right. Circle question 9.